Hi, my name is Winston Gao. I'm a researcher and inventor in the field of agriculture, nutrition, and water. And today we're actually going to talk about wheat and gluten. If you think back a few years, uh, virtually no one was allergic to wheat and gluten. Very, very, very few people. But all of a sudden, in the last maybe 4 years, 5 years, we've had hundreds of wheat allergies and gluten allergies. People, of course, have been having obesity issues, but now it's much more of an obesity issue because, guess what? Genetic engineering. You see, wheat or kamut, which was the original species before it got hybrided into wheat, kamut was way dating back 4,000, 5,000, and plus more years back in Egypt. As a matter of fact, the Egyptian tombs had kamut inside of it. Okay, kamut was a high protein, highly dense sort of a seed, and so when you ground kamut into flour, it still made these very high density, not very delicious breads and cookies and stuff like that. So over these centuries, they have been using pollination, breeding kamut with other different plant species to lighten up the flour so that they would breed into it more and more, what should I say, gluten factors into the seed. So as time has gradiently passed, they've bred in more gluten, and the breads and flours got lighter and lighter. Today, we have genetic engineering, and the gluten factor, just from the original hybridized wheat to the present day genetically engineered wheat, there is 500 times more gluten factor. So that translates to, if you eat one piece of toast, that equals to 500 pieces of toast from the previous 5 or 7 years ago. So if you wonder why people are blowing up, well, 500 times is a whole lot of a number there. So that's only step one of a disaster about eating genetically engineered wheat. You have proteins, except they don't call them proteins anymore. They call them funny proteins, funny starches, funny sugars. Okay, this is what genetic engineering is all about. They will crossbreed all different kinds of plants and animals to make one species. Wheat, for example, has fish genes, flounder genes. It has ergot, which is a fungus. It has fungus genes. It will have different kinds of genes from probably chemicals like Roundup Ready weeds, or then you'll have different wheats where specifically interested with a specific company's fertilizer and not some other company's fertilizer, so they can breed different traits. So wheat nowadays is no longer a plant. It's a genetically modified organism, right? It's an organism. It's not a plant. And it's an organism plural, even if you're referring to a singular wheat strand. It's still a genetically modified organism. So it's even messed with the English language. So if you don't want to be obese, you don't want to set yourself up to potentially getting cancer or other problems, don't eat wheat. I mean, really, if you're going to eat wheat, make sure it's certified organic wheat. But if it's genetically engineered wheat, which unfortunately is not labeled in this country, you're going to have to really do your homework, pay attention to what you eat, and it's not even a matter of how much you eat. If you eat genetically engineered wheat, you're going to deal with some 500 times excess gluten factor. And gluten factor translates into two things: obesity and mucus. Mucus, right? There's a lot of people complaining about mucus, and this is why you need to really pay attention to what you eat. There's plenty of starches that can be substituted with broccoli, asparagus. There are other fruits that have fair amounts of starches that you can eat. And so just make a little different choices, and you'll find that obesity is actually not hard to overcome. Okay? So have a great time, and pick something else to eat today and start slimming down.